back to Changemakers Unplugged, brought to you by the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. My name is Ella.
And my name is Rebekah, and today we are joined by Professor Heaven, who teaches 4 courses here at the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, including 3 in the undergraduate degree program. So today we're just going to talk to you a little bit about the courses you teach, some of your favorite memories, and keep it nice, simple, and chill.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no
Of
problem.
course.
So our first question is, what led you to teach philanthropy?
What a great question. I actually had a career in practice, so I was a fundraiser prior to coming to teach at the Lilly Family School. So I served as a fundraiser for several years. I transitioned into fundraising consulting. And as a part of my process of being a consultant and my training as having a PhD, I wanted to return to academia to be a part of the formation of our young scholar practitioners, right? Be a part of generating change agents within society, because we know that's what the Lilly Family School produces: change makers, change
Oh, yeah.
agents, people who have social impact.
Well, thank you so much. Clearly we agree with the change makers.
Yes.
It's in our name.
I didn't even plan that.
That was so good though. But yeah, and I've had Professor Heaven. Ella will get to have him next semester for the Giving Tuesday class, which we'll be talking about a little bit next.
Yes.
So
So could you briefly describe the classes that you teach?
Yes, so I currently teach 3, almost 4 classes within the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy. So the first class is the Giving Tuesday course, formerly known as Donor Motivations. This course really grapples with donor motivation theory, thinking through the donor life cycle, the fundraising cycle. How do we cultivate donors? How do we identify them? How do we build those relationships, solicit them for donations so that they can have an impact, and then ultimately steward them for their contributions. We also tackle special issues within philanthropy. So we're thinking right now about AI and issues within fundraising, the ethics of fundraising, and we always have those type of conversations and grapple with that. And it culminates, and I won't steal our thunder because I think we're going to talk about it a little bit later.
we'll get
But
into
it
it.
culminates in a Giving Tuesday project. So our students get to select the organization that they want to fundraise for, and they curate an entire Giving Tuesday campaign for impact.
Which is a lot of fun. Having been through it, I can say it's a lot of fun.
Yes. And so I also teach an internship course. So our students are involved in an offsite study. And so I support them through that process. We have sessions where we grapple with different topics associated with their internship. I teach a course called Philanthropic Leadership. So we're launching in the fall. I'm extremely
Yay.
excited about that. The course will focus on leadership strategies, leadership principles across the philanthropic sector. We're going to think through collaboration, power within philanthropy, assessing leadership, right? How do we tell if leadership is effective within philanthropy? And we're going to grapple with a bunch of different topics as they pertain to philanthropic leadership in our current society. And it's going to culminate in our students creating their own personal leadership manifesto for philanthropy. So they're going to reflect on their core values, what it is that drives them to lead in the philanthropic sector. How do they want to enhance their current leadership skills and be impactful within the space? And then the last class I teach is actually in the professional doctorate program, which we're in our 3rd year of so far. Excited about that course. It's called Philanthropy, Justice, and Ethics. So we evaluate philanthropy issues associated with ethics and justice and philanthropy, and we grapple with those topics. And the culminating project for that class is our students actually get to select an ethical or justice theory that resonates with them, and then they have what they call applied research projects, which is their version of a dissertation. They get to take an issue that's ethical or justice based within their project. They get to explore that through the lens of whatever ethical or justice theory that they select, and then they get to generate some preliminary solutions through their research, and they get to grapple with that in their paper. So those are my 4
Cool.
courses.
That's so
Awesome.
cool. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
You get to have all of his classes.
I
done.
know, I can't wait. It sounds really fun.
Awesome. I'm excited to have you.
And so, kind of looking back on some of your experiences with these classes, what is one of your favorite things about teaching at the School of Philanthropy?
Wow, that is a good question. So, one of my favorite things would be the talent of our students. Our students come from a lot of different backgrounds, but everyone is passionate about their specific area of philanthropy and how they want to impact. I think people are still searching for what they want to do long term, but they know that they want to have an impact. And so I get to be a part of the learning experience of students like you all, right? Who have this vision of impact, who want to be engaged with changing not just the institution or the city or the state, but the world. And to be a part of that process and to help you all to grow and to achieve your goals is probably it's definitely at the top of my list of the favorite things that I'm involved with at the Lilly Family School.
Thank you. You're one of our favorite things about the program too. He's one of the best professors. Do you want to dive into the next one?
Yeah, so could you describe like a little bit more about what Giving Tuesday is, like for people that may have never heard of it before?
Yes, and I hope I do this correctly because
You're good, no
we
worries.
have a guest speaker in our Giving Tuesday class who represents the Giving Tuesday brand, and so if she ever hears this, I want her to say,
Victoria.
Yes, Victoria.
Connected
Yes,
on LinkedIn.
we can say her name. Victoria is great, and so Giving Tuesday originated because it gave the world an opportunity to have an impact through their time, treasure, and talent. So it is a day, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, where people get a chance to amplify the causes that they're passionate about. They get to fundraise for the causes that resonate with them, and they get to volunteer and contribute to their communities, to the world through their generosity. And so it's kind of a counter consumerism movement, right? When we think about Black Friday and what is it, Virtual Monday. Cyber Monday.
Cyber
There we
Monday.
go. Cyber Monday.
Small Business Saturday too.
Small Business Saturday. So when we think about consumerism and us spending our capital, how do we balance that out? How do we tap into our inner generosity so that we are not just buying and consuming, but we're also putting back good into the world?
Yeah.
That's great.
That's cool. And
I
so
love that we have a day for that.
me
Yes.
too.
It's so fun.
I love it so much. I don't think I've ever done like Black Friday shopping, but I've definitely done some Giving Tuesday giving now.
That's right. That's right.
But so, we've mentioned that we have a class that kind of goes with it, and you explain the culminating project. Do you want to go a little bit deeper into what that looks like?
Yes, yes. So over the course of the semester, and I had Rebekah, actually my first semester teaching here at the Lilly Family School, right? It was the crash course.
It was perfect. It was so good.
But basically, over the course of the semester, we're talking about the various components of a fundraising campaign. And so this gives our scholars the opportunity to put into practice their learning, all the way from what is the cause that I'm selecting, how am I building out my materials that resonate with the people that I really want to outreach to become a part of this cause as donors or as volunteers. How am I soliciting people? How do I secure early gifts to create some momentum for my campaign? What is my communication schedule? What is my branding model? What colors? I will tell you, the colors really, sometimes people really get immersed in the colors. They're like, I have to have the perfect colors for my campaign. What colors am I going to use? Am I going to have a volunteer team for the day of giving, right? And so the students get to execute all the way from creating the materials to launching the campaign to stewarding the donors. Because as someone who did do stewardship as a part of my career, it is important for us to report back and to thank people for their contributions to our campaign. And so the students, I call it, I'm always in the kind of the master room waiting for the reports of Giving Tuesday, and I'm getting texts and emails about the impact of what the students are doing and how they're implementing their campaigns. And then we come together to report what we learned as a result of these campaigns, right? What was the process? How did it feel? What resonated with us? What was a challenge? Because challenges are a part of fundraising. And then ultimately, we report back and then we think through how did the work that we executed on Giving Tuesday, is it helping to create continued movement? And I will tell you that for a lot of our scholars, organizations have seen more donors come into their fold as a result of the Giving Tuesday project, or additional volunteers, etc. And so it's not just about Giving Tuesday, but the work that you all put into those campaigns has a ripple effect of impact that continues to benefit the organizations.
Yeah. No, and you completely see that doing the class, because I remember the organization that I worked with wanted to launch their Instagram as part of the Giving Tuesday, and I still follow them on Instagram and see them posting stuff, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like they did it. They launched the
Yes.
Instagram, and it was through the campaign that they did as part of our Giving Tuesday project. So I got to work with them on that.
That's
But
outstanding.
yeah, it was so fun. And I remember the wow factor.
Mhm.
I don't know if is that still something that you'll
Yes, the
incorporate.
wow factor. Yes. Rebecca, would you share, the inner professors, would you share with us your wow factor?
Oh, ooh, pick me. Ooh, I'm trying to remember. I think my wow factor, it's basically a reason that people should want to give that seems like it's really attention grabbing, and it's why they
Mhm.
want to give that day instead of, oh, I'll donate later. I think for my organization in that Giving Tuesday, I believe we secured a $5,000 match was
Mhm.
my wow factor. So then we got to promote all gifts up to the $5,000 mark would be matched on the Giving Tuesday campaign. So
That's
I think
right.
that was my wow factor. But I've done wow factors for other fundraising campaigns too since then. With Pie to the Face was one of my best ones so far, and
Oh,
I
that's
got
fun.
12 gifts that met that requirement, so that was a lot of whipped cream. But the wow factor, that's something where that has definitely stuck with me, as well as the stewardship. When we spent, it's a whole like unit, right, on stewardship,
Yes.
and we brought in a guest speaker when I was there for it.
That's
So
right. That's right. We have a wonderful colleague across campus who comes and talks about stewardship. But the wow factor is important, right? And I
hmm
love to see the diversity of wow factors. Last
yeah,
semester, we actually had a student who ran so many laps for every gift that he received.
yep, I
And I
remember that.
remember talking to him and saying, we might want to put parameters around this because you might be running for a long time if you have friends who just want to see you run, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going to give to your campaign for that. But gift cards,
hmm
matching gifts, maybe you have a special talent, whether it's playing an instrument or crafting something.
hmm
Those can all be wow factors that you include within your campaign. I will also say that for the stewardship, one of a very impactful moment was one of our students actually created he sang and he recorded himself singing and would send it to the donors to thank them for
Oh,
their contributions, right?
Oh,
that's
So you
cool.
can get really creative and think about what is your skill set and how you want to communicate and what you want to leave people with that resonates with them.
That's if someone sent me a singing thank you, that would resonate with me.
Yes,
I'd be like,
yes.
sign me up. Do you want to ask the next one?
yeah. So changing gears a little bit,
Mhm.
what is like one of your goals as a philanthropy professor? Like, if you have multiple, like, what does that look like for you?
Yes, that is a great question. So I have multiple goals. So one of my goals is I want to continue to be innovative in the classroom. Rebecca probably can tell you I love to include different elements and different ways of learning within our classroom because I think it's important for us to think through the lens of like how do we learn from this perspective or what about this topic can we think through a different lens. I love incorporating guest speakers, which I think not only strengthens our learning in the classroom, but it also expands our network, right? Because some of these guest speakers, our scholars will stay connected with, or I will tell you that there are guest speakers that I will call up and say, hey, I have a student interested in XYZ. Would you take the time to meet with them one on one? And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes they're very gracious enough to do that. So, one is to continue to be innovative and think through how our students are learning and how we can continue to create a robust educational experience for them in the classroom. That's not just theory. We all love a good theory. But thinking through how do we translate that theory that we're learning into practice that will help us curate our careers. So that's one. As a professor, I also do research, and so my research agenda is extremely important. And I like to think about my research agenda as amplifying underrepresented voices within philanthropy and telling their stories and exploring the narratives around that. And so right now I'm working on a couple of different studies. One is looking at underrepresented fundraisers. So I'm doing interviews with them and then I'm analyzing the data to create a report. And then the last part is service to the institution, but also to our profession. So making sure that I am being involved with different projects. One is the Democratizing Philanthropy Research Initiative that we're launching through here. I want to get more involved with that. I'm involved with different committees, etc. So making sure that we serve and that we're using our expertise to help elevate the experience here and across the world.
Yeah, and every student who does the Giving Tuesday works with a real organization, and it's
Hmm.
it's real money.
Yes.
So that totally fulfills the service aspect of that, because I remember someone in my class was having weekly Zoom calls with the
Yes.
organization to set up the whole program, which was just incredible. It's a very hands-on service oriented class, and also innovation. I think your class is one of the first ones that did it. Maybe you did role playing with us one day, where
Yes.
someone had a fundraiser and someone had a potential donor,
Mhm.
and you had to kind of ask questions to see where they matched, and you sat with another student and actually talked through it. And I think back on that so much, because we learn a lot of the theory behind
Mhm.
relationship building and how to have those conversations,
Mhm.
but to actually do it really helped. At least it really helped me put some method into the different practice we learned. So
Yes,
yes,
I'm
I
so
love
glad
that
to
one.
hear that. And as a former fundraiser and consultant, we use those type of strategies to help equip our partners for success. And
Really?
I think sometimes fundraising can feel daunting. It feels like I'm just asking random people for money. But as you both know, there's an art and science behind it. You're building a relationship and helping someone to realize the impact that they want to have. You're helping them to channel their time, treasure, and talent into the impact areas of society that they really want to see change or to see enhanced. And so making sure you all are getting those practice elements and having those conversations is I love that type of work.
No. Well, thank you. Thank you for
You.
sharing. And I'll probably wrap this up with our last question.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to a student who's thinking they might be interested in studying philanthropy, or maybe an incoming freshman to the school? What would you tell them about the school, the program, any of it?
That is a great question. So what I would say is stay intellectually curious. And stretch your boundaries, because oftentimes when we have a certain lane that we're in, this is what we want to do, this is the type of organization that we want to support, but think through, how can I diversify my experience? Maybe your Giving Tuesday project is not a project, is not an organization that you want to use for another project. Maybe you want to get a different type of perspective or explore a different type of organization and their impact. So I think the key piece of advice would be to stay intellectually curious. Make sure you're networking, right? I think sometimes there's a little bit of trepidation around meeting new people, but there's such great value in getting out there and networking and following up. I will not tell you how valuable it is just to follow up with people, whether it be a guest speaker from the class or attending a workshop here within the school or within IU, Indianapolis generally. Making sure you follow up and keep those connections, because the world seems massive, but really it's a small place. I was just in
Yes.
San Diego for a conference, and I met someone who knew our dean, and said,
Of
"Tell our
course.
dean hello," right? And then I met someone else, and they were like, "I think you have a staff member on your team who works on this," and I'm like, "Yeah, they're wonderful." And so I think building those relationships, staying intellectually curious, and thinking through how you create your learning environment. Like, you're in charge of your learning experience, and you want to have the most diverse, most impactful experience you can have. So stretch yourself. You both know, get involved, right? Find an
Oh, yeah.
organization that you can start practicing these skills that you're learning, and make sure that you steward your connections. I'm really big on stewardship. Steward the relationships that you have, steward the connections you have, because in the long run, it will pay off.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank
Thank
you again
you.
for joining us today. We loved having
Thank you. I
Yes,
appreciate
thank
you having
so
me.
much. If you found our conversation today interesting and want to come see the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy for yourself, you can schedule a visit with IU Indianapolis today.
You can do this by scanning our QR code or by following the link in the description.
If you would like to learn more about the Lilly Family School of Philanthropy, the Changemakers Unplugged podcast, or the Youth Philanthropy Initiative, you can visit our website.
Philanthropy.indianapolis.iu.edu, or by clicking the link in our description.